boys, they had me out there to up there overnight for a little bit ahead of them. And the rest of you out there, you know, and I really see the one mix. It was real as a real bit more real bit for that. You got must move me. Yeah, you'll go.
Left them penniless and homeless.
Around what town was this, Aunt Kate? Do you have any idea?
Somewhere
Around Medill?
around Blue somewhere. I guess
Around Blue.
I don't have any idea of where it could have been. Let's see, am I getting that? Then we jump back.
Yeah, we went back and picked them up, and
Yeah,
they were left penniless, and she had how many brothers did she have?
she just had one brother.
One brother, and did she have a sister?
No,
In other words, there was just a boy and a girl in the family.
no. But she had relatives, near relatives. She had her mother, Grandma had two sisters. And so they went to them. And Grandmother would work wherever she could, beating corn or helping any way she could that if wealthier people that would want to employ her, why she'd go there. And too, she was a, what do you call her?
Midwife?
Yeah, she was a midwife.
Okay.
And
Well, after, I guess she took care of them best she could until Grandma was about 14 years old, and that's when she got married. Is that right? First
Yes.
time.
well, yes, and my brother, her brother died. And I don't remember what she said that he died with. But he must have been about 10 years old, I guess, when he died.
Was he younger or older?
He was younger than her.
Do you know, we're going to go back to that epidemic. Do you know whether that was smallpox or not, or do you not know?
I do not know what it
Okay.
was.
Just an epidemic. Okay. All right, let's pick her up after she married the second time and had Francis, and then move on because we covered it.
Well, while she was living there, my daddy was freighting lumber from Denison, Texas, to build a ranch house up here. And he come there and stopped the night. And his wife was one of Mother's sisters. Mother's sisters.
Yes.
And she knew each one of the girls just had one daughter each. So they referred to one another as sisters in the place of cousins. These three girls did.
Uh-huh.
And they were taught that they were sisters. And they had that warm feeling toward one another. Well, when Papa found her, he went back and told Sophie that he found his. That was my mother. And so when he made another trip after
Now, was he taking one freight wagon or several freight wagons freighting the lumber?
he had two freight wagons, and when they came this last time, he brought a buggy, a buggy, two-horse buggy. I guess that's what they call them. Anyhow, old-fashioned buggy.
Right.
Because he asked Mama. No, that was when he made the third trip. The second trip that he come down, why, Sophie had told him to bring her with him when he come back. And she wouldn't go. Mama wouldn't go.
About how old was she at this time?
Well, she was somewhere in her 20s.
And she had Francis at that time, but she had divorced Francis' husband.
Well, no, they were living
Daddy.
together. They were living together at that time, and but he told her that she could go, and then whenever she got ready to go and was going to leave, he told her, he said, if you go, don't come back. And she said that made her mad because he let her believe all the time that she was going to go. And then he just walked in and said, well, if you go, just don't come back. You don't need to come back. And so she said, well, all right, then I just won't come back. And she went on out
And her husband's name at that time was what now? Francis's daddy.
Levi Kemp.
Levi Kemp. What kind of man was he?
He was a Chickasaw Indian.
What kind of nature did he have?
Huh?
Was he good-natured, bad-natured? What did she used to say about it?
Well, he was, I never heard her say that he mistreated her in any way.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Then, she stayed and worked for my daddy and his wife until she met Ben Pikey, and he come there looking for work to be a ranch hand, and so that's where she met him, and they got married.
How long had she been up here with your grandpa and Sophie before Ben come along, or do you have any idea?
I don't know exactly, but I know that Francis was about 3 years old, 3 or 4, somewhere in there, and because Hosey was my daddy and his wife's oldest child, and he would run over Francis an awful lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Mama was so vexed at the way Francis was treated, and wasn't happy because of it. And so when Ben Pikey wanted her to marry him, she did.
Now, was Ben a full-blood Chickasaw?
Yes, he was full-blood Chickasaw.
Okay.
And so they got married, and
Where did they live?
they lived here at Tuttle.
We're at it, so.
Can you describe where it was? Down here on the other side of
The old
Traxford,
place.
the old place.
Well, that would be approximately 5 miles east, 2 miles north, and 300 yards back west.
Yeah.
That's where they lived. And their first child was Munford.
No. was Molly.
Molly. Okay.
And then their next child was Minerva. And their next one was Amanda. Sophie Amanda. And the next one was Mumford. And the next one was Jackson. And the next one was Thomas Benson.
Better known as Doc.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go back and name those children and who they married, so people will recognize the oldest one.
Molly married Earl Dobbs.
Okay.
Minnie married Martin Cochran.
Okay.
Amanda married Charlie Pittenridge. Mumford lived single all his life.
Yeah.
Doc Pikey married Nora Husky.
Now there was one in between
And
that evidently didn't live.
Jack died when he was, I think, about 4 years old. And that was all the children they had.
And then approximately how long did Ben live before he passed away? Well, there's quite a number of children, and so he must have lived several years.
Yeah,
He more or less just raised Francis, didn't he?
yeah. Yes, well, he claimed Frances as his own, as his daughter. I said Molly was old. He claimed Frances. She was
Well, yeah, but
she belonged to him.
right. Okay, and after Ben Pikey, do you know approximately how old, say, Thomas Benson or Doc was when his daddy died?
Thomas Benson was born after he died.
Oh, so he never knew his daddy, really?
No, he never seen his daddy.
What's the age difference between your age and Thomas Benson? Doc.
Let's see. Must have been about 3 years. 3 years.
So she probably married Tom Waldon a year and a half. So after,
No. She didn't marry Tom Waldon until I was 8 years old. Raised.
and Delilah was how old?
Well, let's see. Bill is, I can't remember. She's little, over 2 years younger than me.
Yeah. She must have been about 5 or 6.
Yes, because we were both away at school, at the Indian school.
Then grandmother wore the name of Pikey up until that time,
Yes,
and she's on the rolls as Pikey,
yes,
and that was the reason she was on the rolls as Pikey, because they didn't formally get married until you was 8 years old.
yeah.
Okay. Well, do we want to go on? How old were you when grandmother passed away?
I was about 25 years old.
About 25. And she died with stroke. And we've named all the children, including you, and that being, what's your full name? Catherine?
I just have Catherine, no other name.
And Delilah?
Delilah was named Delilah Elizabeth.
Delilah Elizabeth. Okay. And that is all of the children of, and what was her full name? Grandmother's full name?
She didn't have but one as kids. That was Katie in English. His was Katie in Chickasaw.
I see.
His.
His? Okay. Now, do we want to rest a while and just sit here, or do we want to go on and get on Grandpa and bring up some?
Well, I can tell you about him, but I know
Well, wait a minute.
the woman told Mama the reason they wanted to kill her was if she told them that if they would kill Mama and get her out of the way, that she could marry Papa, and she would give them money. Now, it wasn't that, and Papa said, that woman just told his that, and she believes it with all her heart. Said she believed that woman with all her heart. And I was at school, and a bunch of girls we had these outdoor johns, you know, that you had to go to right away. Coming out there, and I was laughing when we walked up into this john, and one of these girls said to me, "You wouldn't be laughing if you knew what I knew." You know, and I said, "What? What do you know?" Well, I said, "You just wouldn't be laughing." And so, well, she got my curiosity out. And I wanted to know what she knew. She wouldn't tell me for maybe a day or two later. And I said, I can't think of her name.
Now, this was at Stonewall?
This is college, yeah, Stonewall. And she said, well, I was there when they planned to kill your mother. I said, kill my mother? And she said, yes. She told me the same tale that this woman told Mama. Well, Minnie was with Mama down there, and they wasn't going to do anything to her. And so Minnie got the train and come home. And Mama went home with some people that lived at Stonewall. And so
Was it down some?
she said that if said that, and said there's two white men came down there and after Mama, and many come home, you know, and they caught the train and went back to get Mama. And Charlie and Earl did. And so when they got down there, well, it wasn't long till here come Papa. And so they said, well, for then she said then they turned on Mama's cousin and come putting her, killing her for talking up such a thing because said, see what kind of trouble we'd have got into? Said, that many people coming down here running after her. But Papa, he just couldn't believe it. And I asked Minnie, I questioned Minnie about it. And she said, yeah, that was really a fact. She said, it was really a fact. She said, I'll tell you, she said, I hated to leave Mama. I was afraid she'd go crazy. Said, she's so scared of me and this woman that told her was afraid because she told Mama and they might get her in trouble for telling Mama.
Mm-hmm.
And, Minnie said, I sure did hate to leave Mama down. But I come home. And
well, getting back to the children, how old was Munford and Thomas Benson when Tom Waldon, Grandpa Waldon, was living with or married to your mother? In other words, did he help raise? Evidently, Doc wasn't very old.
he was about 3 years older than me, and I was 8 years old when they got married. Make him about 11 years old. And they didn't like Papa, no way.
They wouldn't accept it.
Oh, no. They wouldn't let on around him, but they would talk to Mama, you know, and so Mama knew they was very unhappy, and so they left and went to Earl Dobbs's. They both left home and went out there. And Mama said, let them stay. Let them. She didn't want to force them back because they didn't want to stay. But I know Papa bought Doc a bicycle. And I learned to ride it. And I know that, but they just didn't like Papa, no way.
Couldn't accept him.
Mm-mm. And so, well, then Mama had a house built out here on Munn's place, and Minnie and Munn and Doc moved out there and lived.
About how long did they live with Dobbs's before she had the house built? A couple of years?
Yes, but you see, they went off to school. They'd stay, you know, the 3 months. And
Where would they go to school?
Wapanaki.
Wapanaki.
Uh-huh.
Where's that?
Where is it, Bun?
It's down what town it is close.
Wakanucky is Bull in Chickasaw.
It's north. And a little east of Ishemonaubby.
Then it was an Indian boarding school.
Yes, boy.
Boy, Indian boys boarding school.
Uh-huh.
Wapanoki. And then they'd come back during the summer.
Uh-huh. And when they came back, I think the second summer, Mama had the house built, and they all moved out there, and they didn't.
And Minnie kept house for them.
Yeah.
Okay. How old was Bird? Was he about Doc's age?
Oh no, Bird's 10 years older than me.
Okay.
Let's see.
He's been about Mun's age then.
Yeah. He's Bird was a little older than Mom. Oh, because there was Doc and Jack, and then Mun,
That's it.
and then Bird was in Colorado when Mom and him married, and he was not going to accept Mama. And when he come home, he stayed with Aunt Susie. He stayed with her. And
When you say Aunt Susie, what was her
Aunt
name?
Susie Clopton.
And
Aunt Susie Clopton.
And she is Grandpa's sister.
No, she is his niece. But that is complicated out there. Oh, her. She's his niece. Now, her and Aunt Rena Rice and Minerva, Minerva Friar were sisters, and Bill Brown and Benson Brown were the boys. That was the family, that family.
And their father and mother was who?
Their father and mother was Papa's sister, and her name was Minerva, wasn't it? Her name was Minerva, and she married no, let me see what in the world can I think of. Old Lita could just call that like that. He was an old bachelor and had one daughter when he married Papa's sister, and she had these 5 children by him. Well, then Papa marries his daughter, and that's Sophie, Mama's cousin.
Okay. He married one of the daughters of his
stepdaughter, to his sister.
his stepdaughter to his sister he married.
Yeah.
Her name was Sophie.
Yeah, her name was Sophie.
Now,
No, her name was Minerva. Her name was Minerva.
Okay. Now that was Grandpa's first. Who was Grandpa's first wife?
Sophie.
Okay. Okay, that's what I thought.
And her mother's name was Minerva, you see. her stepmother.
Okay.
That was Papa's sister.
Okay. All right. All right. We'll pick up on him and all these things. Honey, yeah, it's still turning out. I don't know when I'm gonna run out of tape. But he couldn't accept grandmother. Bird couldn't.
Oh, no.
And he lived with Aunt Susie, and
About a year.
And he was was he 17, 18 years old?
Yes, somewhere in there. And finally he come home. Finally he came home. And he finally accepted Mama, you know, and he called her kids. He called her by her first name. And he come home.
Well, then it was you and Bird and Mother is really the only ones that really lived there, because the others.
And Jim stayed with us too.
Did it take him a while to accept grandmother?
Yeah, he was. He and Albert were always friendly with Mama. But Hosey wasn't. It was a long time before Hosey was busy. They were busy with us.
Okay. Then after Grandpa died, didn't Uncle Mun come and live with y'all or not?
Yes. Well, after I got married, and my husband went to war and was killed, I went back home. Went back to Mother's. And Mun come and lived there.
Now, Mother was living there at the time?
Yes. She was about 17 years old when Papa died. Yes, she was. She was 17 years old. He died in May, I believe it was. Yeah.
Approximately how many years after he died did grandmother die?
Must have been about 20 years.
That much to do?
Let me see. No,
No,
I'm mistaken. Oh, let's see. Jack now was born after Papa died. In June, Papa died in May. And Jack was born in June. Well, Jack was about 6 years old, I guess. 5 or 6 years old.
Okay. It was about 6 years after Grandpa died, grandmother died.
Uh-huh.
Because I know that Aunt Eda was living because there she is holding her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we want to, I want to just kind of cover her side of the family, you know. We didn't mention who Frances married. We left her out when we were naming who.
Uh-huh. Well, Frances
married first who?
Yeah, she run away from home and married Tom Higgins.
And about how old was she at that time?
She's 14 years old.
And she married Tom Higgins. Was
Yeah.
he an Indian?
No, he's black man.
And where did they live?
They lived down at, Dibble.
Dibble. And they had what children?
Well, they didn't, they come back. I don't know just how many kids they had when they come back, but they came back and lived in a cellar, half dugout, over here, 3 miles and a quarter from,
The old Friary place?
from Tuttle. Yeah, they lived down on the creek, you know.
Up on Whirly Creek.
Yeah. And and had Neb and Patsy Ann and Tom
Junior.
Jr. and Tom Higgins died.
After
And then
those
she
children.
married Burl Fryer.
She married Burl Fryer and had the following kids.
Yeah, then she married Burl Fryer and had, Tilly and, Jack and Tilly and Marie and Gladys and Jimmy.
Rayburn.
Oh yeah, and Rayburn and Jimmy.
Right.
Rayburn's younger than Gladys.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's go to, I guess Mandy.
Francis, Molly, and
Molly Dobbs.
Molly Dobbs.
What children did
She
she?
had, Ann, Minabelle, June, and Tom.
Doc and Tom?
Oh, just Tom.
Oh. And Tom was the baby?
Yeah.
Did she?
Well, no, they had another one, but he died with spinal meningitis.
Okay. Did she remarry, or was that all?
No,
man
that
she
was
married?
the only man she married.
Then go to Mandy, I guess.
Yeah, Mandy. She had Rose, Thomas Jefferson,
Now, I don't know Thomas Jefferson. You're going to have to. Bill, okay.
and
How did I got Bill out of Thomas Jefferson? Go ahead.
Beulah May, and Ben, and John,
home.
And Henry Edwards.
Henry Edwards.
Uh-huh.
What's his nickname?
He's dead. He never did have a nickname.
Okay.
And John
And home.
and Holmes.
Now, who is Holmes?
Alonzo.
Oh, Cook.
Alonzo.
Alonzo Cook. Yeah, I did. You naming the real names.
You don't know.
Uncle Bun's hung names on them, and I don't know them by anything else.
Mumford Johnson is his name.
Okay. All right, that took care of her. Then I guess the next one is Zeno's mother. Is that right?
Yeah, Minnie.
Minnie.
She had Zeno. Zenobia.
She must have died at an early age.
She died when she was about 30 years old.
And Zeno's full name was what?
Zenobia.
Zenobia.
Zenobia Louise Hogland.
There you go. Okay, after her, it would have been
Doc.
no, it'd been well. Uncle Munn didn't marry,
No, he didn't marry.
so it'd be
Thomas.
Thomas Benson or Doc, and he had one child,
Leona.
Leona Lightfoot. Okay. Then it would have been you,
Mm-hmm.
and you had one child, and that's Jack,
Huh?
Elmer Jack,
Mm-hmm.
and then Delilah,
And
mother,
I had, Jeff, Leonard.
right, who was
Leonard Jefferson. That
who was a twin to
twin to Jack.
Elmer Jack.
Jack's name was, Elmer Jackson. And the other one named Leonard Jefferson.
I see. Okay. Oh, that kind of takes care of grandmother's side, doesn't it? You know, unless there's something we want to bring and put in there. You know.
That's all of them, I guess.
I don't know whether I'm gonna have to turn this. It's still going. Yeah, I want to start back on Grandpa's side and his, you know, approximately where he was born and approximately when he was born, if you know. I think he came from Texas, didn't he? Or not?
Papa was born in Walden Springs, Tennessee.
Walden Springs, Tennessee, in approximately what year?
Well, he was 86 years old when he died.